Hey guys, and welcome back to another YouTube video. In this video, I'll be going through the West Coast versus Fremantle game, in which Fremantle extend their lead extend out their dominance, I should say, in the Western Derbies in the women's by winning their 7th straight. And they are 7-0, I believe, in derbies, and West Coast are probably falling away now. They had a really positive start, and we sort of saw this coming across when we started the year, given how they were in 2023. But I think it's definitely been a surprise how long this has stayed up, how long they've sort of been able to stay relevant, I would say, in the AFLW competition. Maybe that's the wrong use of words, but I definitely thought they'd start falling away after their sneaky round 1 victory, and they've stayed definitely in the conversation for the 8, probably until about this week. And now their season's over. Obviously, they can't make finals realistically, and so they've done a fair job to stay relevant until now, I would say. But anyway, let's just jump into this recap here. Lewis 103, and she's one that could be a sneaky thing. I did put something on my channel, and if I go to this, you will see it. Where is it? This one here. This one here. You'll see Marinoff, Riddell, Gardner, excluding them, which is going to be the midfielder that averages the most in the last 3 games of the season. And if we actually look at this, Rowbottom failed. Anderson, I think, went sub 100 as well. And then let me just double check that for you guys, that she went sub 100, if I can get to it. Where is it? I think she went sub 100. Everyone in that game went sub 100. Anderson went 78. Conti went sub 100. Hatchard's on 103. So it's out of everything. Goering's actually top scored for those sort of non-options, or is in the top sort of 3 or 4 out of the non-Marinoff. And I think even talking about Riddell and Garner, they failed as well. So it's been sort of a horrific week for a lot of people in the midfield, whereas my horrific week came in the back line. If I just go to the filters here, midfielders, and then go by the weak points. So you'll see Marinoff 136, Bates 127, Goody 120. I don't expect Goody to be the top scorer. But then McCarthy 111, which we'll talk about here. Parker, and then Pritchard, and then Goering. So we'll actually talk about McCarthy in a second here. But Lewis has been one that sort of surprised me to see her form, if you actually look at it as well. And that's sort of where the conversation tangent went from. You'll see here, much like Hurley for the Swans, she's had 300s in 4 games. Hurley was back to back, whereas she's gone at 108, 146, shocker there, and 103 last on the weekend. So, she's just been a surprise form packet for the last part of the year. I just don't know if she's going to be relevant, I would say, in terms of fantasy for the last part of the year and be that top scorer, or that sort of M4 and 5 that I was discussing with the poll that I had put up on my community tab. Drennan 97, 20 touches, 12 tackles. She's been immense. And a really good addition. I know that they gave up McCarthy for her effectively, and Roxanne Rowe. They gave up effectively McCarthy for those 2. I just don't know if that in the end, it's probably worked out for both clubs that they get better output, but I think that for what they gave up, probably McCarthy is the winner out of that. Britton 75, she's been up and down, we know that for this year. Robert 71, and I think this is the big thing that we've seen this year. It's just really inconsistent players outside of Marinoff. As well as Strom, and outside of those 2, I mean, they're the top scorers for a reason. We've really seen inconsistency, and maybe even you could add Riddell maybe into that, but Riddell even has a couple of 80s, I believe. There's just been really inconsistent scoring, especially in the midfield this year, which is sort of a surprise. Wakeford 65, Swanson 60, another one that got off to a really, really hot start. If we just go here, I know that's the previous game, but if we switch it over, you'll see she was on, I think, 44 at halftime. Swanson 10, 34, 5 and 11. She'll be one interesting if she does get slotted into the midfield. If we go to, didn't want that. I will go that way. And then you'll see Here, you'll see Swanson, if it will get off this ad anytime soon. No, I'm going to have to refresh. You'll see Swanson played 0% CBAs in that game for a 60. So will be interesting next year, Swanson, I reckon, because she's going to be getting that. I would suspect she's going to be getting that defender status. And defender status next year for her, after sort of intermittent preseason, an interrupted preseason and starts of the season for her, she'll definitely be interesting if she gets slotted back into the midfield, but I don't know if they'll do that, if Daisy Pearce will do that, or whether she wants her still up half-back. Then we go down here, you can see Hoskin, Lakay, Weston as well, 45, she seems to be around that marker. Then you just see Thomas fail, that's a fail. 44, that's just flat out fail. Nothing more can be really said. You just see here, she never really got going here. 8, 19, 3, 14. You can't be having a 3-point quarter realistically. If that is a 20-point quarter there, a 61, that's probably a pass mark, to be honest, but a 44 just sucks for Thomas. Bushby, 42. Wakefer, Cleaver, Smith, Rowley, Schilling. Backer will be an interesting one. I think she's very much similar to the discussion we had in the previous video about the likes of Isabel Bacon. I think this is going to be down a similar path there with Sonny Backer. If we go down here, or Sane Backer, she is 18 only, so she is a lot younger as well. So yeah, she's probably one that we're going to watch for the next couple of years, build up her as a tagger, and then suddenly just go and it will just click, and one season you will just see it click. But I think she's one that definitely is going to go down in the notes book. That I probably should create in the next couple of days, just recounting a lot of these girls, especially the younger ones, to keep an eye on, because a lot of them are the ones that we get frustrated that we miss. Mimstrom, 133, she absolutely dominated. She had 20 hit-outs in the first quarter. It was kind of dumb. It would I saw her score at quarter time and I just went, she's going to burn me today, isn't she? And she did. Just simple as that. McCarthy as well, 27, 20, 28, 36. She had a huge last quarter to burn anyone that had her. She was on 75 at three-quarter time, and I thought, it's not the worst, like scoring 100, etc. I don't know how owned she is. But yeah, she definitely kicked away in that last quarter. Newton as well got off to an absolute flyer. 61 at halftime, and then kept up her scoring to get to a 102. If I just go here and quickly on my phone check how owned is McCarthy. McCarthy is 12% owned or 13% owned. And then out of that defender line, if I click on it and then go to not the average points, I want the team selected by, you'll see Thomas is highest owned, Schleicher still highly owned, and we'll get to her feat in her game this week. Then you'll have Newton at 16%, Daisy Darcy 17%. And Sheeran 13, Webster 13. So a lot of those sort of girls. And Maddie Gay down at 8%. And then even further down, you have Newton at 6%. So you can sort of see how some people really did profit because their pods went off. Newton, I think I touted Newton up being like she's the one that I would like, just given her role. And she profited so well. She's just an absolute gun. To be honest with you, having 17 touches, 12 tackles, having that huge tackle base is absolutely huge. And yeah, she's just absolutely profited. 50% CBAs for a 102 as well. And yeah, she's been really consistent in her last three games. 88, 88, 102 is absolutely huge. And yeah, just someone that I wish I could be bringing in, but I just can't at this point in time because I have more injuries, I believe. Then you see a massive drop away here from 102 to a 58. That might be the biggest drop away that I've seen in terms of not even from the non-top scorer, from sort of a top 3 range down to the next person. Lally, 58. And then you can basically just skip the fancy relevance of pretty much everyone here. Just skip them. They're not really fancy relevant. I know that Gabby O'Sullivan here, 53. I want to check her CBAs just quickly here. But then you have Hayley Miller coming back in next week, which I think will leak away some of the CBAs. And she was down at 20%. That's not good. That is really not good for that role as well. But there's no forward that you really want as well. So it's sort of just a worst outcome, I guess, in general. But anyway, Dana East, 53. Kaufman, 53. I've been really surprised how Kaufman has really taken up a sort of Mrs. Fix-It, I would say, almost role in that Freo midfield, and it's really just worked. She's sort of the silent player that's just sort of applying pressure but not really scoring well. And I mean, it's working out for Freo because they're winning games. But it's really disappointing that she isn't putting up the scores fantasy-wise. Lowe, Renales, Veria, Pugh, Seth, Biden Webster scored 2 goals for 38, so I probably shouldn't be bringing her in, but there's like no one else that I can bring in at that price range that are actually playing. Antonio, Brazel, Flynn, Mulholland, Cowick, and I think that's how you pronounce it, Greg, and then Scannion. I know that someone said about the Goldrick one or whatever, about that, I'm mispronouncing. I don't really care about that as much. I know that I mispronounced Nanscorn for about a full season, so I'll hopefully catch on. And I butchered Nanscorn's one for about a season, so anyway. But that is the video. I've somehow stretched it out to 10 minutes. And if you did enjoy that and enjoyed me mispronouncing probably half of the Freo list names, then remember to like and subscribe, turn the notification bell on so you know when I upload, and I will see you guys in the next recap. Bye, guys.